Marta stood amid the chaotic hum of a weekend flea market in Chicago's Pilsen neighborhood, clutching a roll of blue silk ribbon. Her fingers traced its smooth surface, her mind already weaving it into something beautiful. At 27, her world was built on the delicate foundation of small treasures, mother-of-pearl buttons scavenged from thrift stores, beads that caught the light like tiny stars, scraps of fabric she transformed into dresses, bags, and scarves. Her cramped apartment on the city's outskirts was a sanctuary of creativity, shelves groaned under the weight of trinket-filled boxes, walls bore the chaotic beauty of her sketches, and the windowsill held a rainbow of ribbons folded with care. These objects weren't just possessions. They were her armor against a life that often felt too heavy, the soul-crushing office job she endured to pay rent, the quiet ache of evenings spent alone. She'd come to the market seeking inspiration. The blue bow in her hands was destined for a dress, a commission from her friend Carla, who wanted to turn heads at a gallery opening. Marta pictured the silk cascading over a shoulder, accentuating a collarbone with quiet elegance. She was lost in that vision when a voice broke through the din. That color's like your eyes, cool, but deep, like Lake Michigan in winter. She turned. A man stood before her, tall, with dark hair spilling over his forehead and green eyes that seemed to see right through her. He cradled a battered guitar case, a worn canvas bag slung over his shoulder with colorful laces poking out. "Think so," she replied, a shy smile tugging at her lips as her cheeks flushed. "I'm sure of it," he said confidently. "I'm Roman." "And you are?" "Marta." He explained he played gigs at dive bars around the city, not for glory, but to scrape by. She confessed she sewed for her soul, dreaming of one day turning her passion into a living. Their words flowed like a melody, effortless and warm. Before parting, he suggested coffee. "You owe me one for the compliment," she teased, gripping the ribbon tighter. He laughed, a low, genuine sound, and agreed. That's how it began. Their first weeks together were a whirlwind of light. Roman would stumble into her apartment after late-night sets, a bottle of cheap Merlot in hand, regaling her with tales of the Chicago music scene, drunken poets swaying to his chords, grizzled rockers reminiscing about the 70s, girls in sequin tops slipping him crumpled napkins with their numbers. Marta poured her affection into her craft, sewing him a gray linen shirt with a star-shaped button on the collar. He wore it to a gig at a Wicker Park bar and came home beaming, wrapping her in a hug that pressed his heartbeat against her chest. "You made me a star," he murmured, kissing her forehead. The blue bow became their shared symbol. She wore it pinned in her hair on their walks along the Chicago Riverwalk or braided it into her locks during quiet nights when he strummed for her alone. One evening, he composed a tune on his guitar, naming it Blue Beacon. "It's you," he said, his voice soft as the last note faded. "My anchor in this mess of a life." She believed him, her heart swelling with the certainty that she'd found someone who truly saw her. Roman wasn't the only constant in her life. There was Lina, her best friend since their days at the Art Institute of Chicago, where they'd bonded over late-night poster projects. Lina was everything Marta wasn't, brash, unapologetic, with a razor-sharp wit and an appetite for the finer things. She worked as a stylist for a glitzy downtown agency, strutting in heels and designer dresses Marta could only admire from afar. Their friendship was a tapestry of shared history, giggling over disastrous Tinder dates, dreaming of futures beyond their student loans, crying together when Lina's first love cheated and when Marta bombed her portfolio review. Lina called Marta her quiet harbor. Marta saw her as the sister she'd never had. They balanced each other. Marta's needle and thread met Lina's flair for bold aesthetics. Lina often raided Marta's collection for her gigs, borrowing brooches, scarves, ribbons to elevate her clients' looks. One afternoon, she breezed into Marta's apartment with a bottle of Prosecco and a request. "I've got a huge shoot tomorrow for a fashion mag," she said, swirling her glass. "That blue bow of yours, it's perfect for the vibe. I'll return it in a week, swear." Marta smiled, handing it over. "Don't lose it. It's special." "Please, I'm a pro," Lina scoffed, tucking it into her bag. Marta trusted her implicitly. With Roman and Lina by her side, her life felt like a sturdy quilt, love and friendship its unbreakable seams. Those early months with Roman were pure magic. He'd serenade her with rough drafts of songs. They'd explore Chicago's hidden corners, grabbing tacos in Pilsen, watching the skyline from the museum campus, kissing under the city's electric glow. Lina popped in regularly, armed with wine and gossip about her whirlwind life, diva clients, rooftop parties where she danced until sunrise. She'd flirt with Roman in jest, tossing him lines like, "You've got a face for billboards, you know, those cheekbones." He'd grin. Marta would chuckle, brushing it off as Lina's playful charm. One night, Lina lingered after Roman left for a gig. They sat in Marta's cluttered kitchen, sipping the last of the Prosecco. "He's a catch," Lina said, staring into her glass. "You hit the jackpot." "I know," Marta replied, basking in the warmth of her friend's approval. Lina's smile flickered with something odd, a fleeting shadow, but Marta, drunk on happiness, missed it entirely. After a year, cracks began to spiderweb through her perfect world. Roman grew distant. He'd stumble home from gigs well past midnight, drop his guitar case with a thud, and bury himself in his phone. His eyes, once alight with affection, now dodged hers. Marta noticed, but told herself it was a phase. "How was the show?" she'd ask, sliding a plate of mac and cheese across the table, his favorite. "Fine," he'd mutter, thumbs tapping the screen. She didn't press. He'd always warned her about the lows of his trade, venues shutting down, promoters stiffing him, creativity stalling. But the signs multiplied. One night, his jacket reeked of cigarettes, harsh and unfamiliar. He didn't smoke. "Were you with smokers?" she asked, clutching the fabric. "Yeah, the club," he shrugged. "You know how it is, smoke everywhere." She nodded, but a seed of unease took root. Then came a new scent, floral, citrusy, nothing like her drugstore lavender spray. "What's that smell?" she pressed. His smile was tight. "Some chick at the bar, probably. It's packed in there." She swallowed her doubts, but they festered. His embraces turned mechanical, his guitar sat untouched, collecting dust. She wore the blue bow one evening, hoping to rekindle their spark. He didn't even glance up. Lina's visits dwindled, but when she appeared, something felt off. She dodged questions about Roman, pivoting to tales of her latest shoots or swanky events. Once, Marta mentioned the bow. "How'd that shoot go?" "Oh, killer," Lina said with a flick of her wrist. Client ate it up. She hadn't returned the bow, but Marta let it slide. Friendship trumped petty reminders. One night, Roman rolled in after 2 a.m. Marta waited in the kitchen, nursing a cold mug of tea. "Where were you?" she asked, voice steady. "Club stuff ran late," he replied, eyes elsewhere. A fracture split her insides, but she held her tongue. Days later, she glimpsed a message on his phone as he slept. The screen glowed, "See you tomorrow." Her pulse raced. Lina, she wondered, hands trembling too much to unlock it. She lay awake beside him, the silence deafening. The uncertainty gnawed at her like a splinter. She needed answers. Roman mentioned a gig at Shadow Lounge in the Loop the next night. She nodded, feigned a smile, and wished him luck. But as he left, she grabbed a dark coat, tied her hair under a scarf, and trailed him into the Chicago night. The club thrummed with bodies. Marta lurked near the entrance, cloaked in shadows. Roman took the stage, his fingers coaxing life from the strings, his voice a haunting echo of the man who'd once sung for her. When he finished, he descended and beelined for the bar. There was Lina, sheathed in a green dress that hugged every curve, the blue bow pinned in her hair. Marta's bow. Her breath caught. Roman slid an arm around Lina's waist, leaned in, murmured something. Lina's laugh cut through the noise as she pressed a hand to his chest. They moved like they'd done this before. Then he kissed her, deep, ravenous, oblivious to the crowd. The bow in Lina's hair glinted like a taunt. Marta's knees buckled, but she rooted herself in place. They slipped out the back, hands entwined. She knew that exit led to the alley where musicians parked. Heart hammering, she followed, a ghost in the dark. Outside, a street lamp bathed them in harsh light. Roman shoved Lina against a brick wall, his hands greedy, her giggles sharp as glass. Marta overheard. She's clueless. Sweet, dumb Marta. Roman's chuckle was cruel, too trusting. It's almost boring. The words seared her. Tears welled, but she bit them back, fists clenched. They climbed into his beat-up Honda and keeled away. Marta stood frozen until the night swallowed them. Her universe imploded. She trudged home through Chicago's biting wind, blind to the cold. In her apartment, she collapsed on the floor, staring at her hands that had sewn for him, trusted them both. She seized scissors and hacked at a swatch of blue fabric, the source of that cursed vow. Each slice was a silent howl, tearing through the betrayal. Morning came, and Roman sauntered in, casual as ever. Marta sat at the kitchen table, a box of his belongings stacked before her, shirts she'd stitched, guitar strings, scribbled lyrics. "Where were you?" she asked, voice a whisper. He mumbled about a late night, but she sliced through. "I saw you. With Lina." "My bow. I heard you mock me." He stiffened, eyes darting, then tried. "You misunderstood. It was nothing. Just shut up," she barked. "Take your crap and go." He snatched the box and stormed out, sneering. "Your fault. You're a bore." The door crashed shut. An hour later, Lina's call came. "Marta, listen, I can explain." He started it, Marta ended it, blocked her. But the nightmare wasn't done. A week later, an envelope slid under her door. No name. Inside, a photo, Roman and Lina tangled in sheets, caught through a window. The blue bow crowned Lina's hair. On the back, in Lina's scrawl, "They laughed at you every step." It was her handwriting, a dagger dipped in venom. Marta hurled it into the trash, but the scene burned into her mind. This wasn't mere betrayal, it was a calculated cruelty, a sport. She replayed Lina's coy praises of Roman, his sly grins at her quips. She'd been their fool, a punching bag for their amusement. Her life unraveled. She didn't eat, didn't sleep, didn't sew. Her apartment turned into a mausoleum, her cherished trinkets now relics of a lie. One night, she smashed her bedroom mirror, shards reflecting a stranger's hollow face. Glass rained down, mirroring her fractured trust. But the darkness wasn't endless. 2 months in, Carla, her friend from the dress commission, banged on her door, refusing to leave. "You're not dead yet," Carla said, dragging her to a diner on Milwaukee Avenue. Over greasy fries, Marta spilled it all, Roman's lips on Lina's, the photo, the mockery. Carla listened, then gripped her hand. "They're trash. You're gold." Back home, Marta stared at a mirror fragment. "Enough," she rasped. She purged her space, Roman's shirts, Lina's borrowed scarves, every trace of them, dumping it all in a donation bin. She enrolled in a sewing workshop in the West Loop, needing an outlet. Her first piece was a patchwork bag, not blue, but crimson, fierce as blood. She poured her rage into it, stitching late into the night. Sewing became her lifeline. She abandoned soft silks for tough denim and leather, crafting jackets with jagged edges, pants studded with rivets, bags that looked ready for battle. Her style morphed into something raw, defiant. She launched an Instagram under Marta Makes Armor, posting her creations. Followers flooded in, women who'd been broken and sought strength in her work. A message came: "Your coat saved me after my ex destroyed me." "Thank you." Marta's chest tightened with pride. Betrayal hadn't buried her, it had ignited her. A year on, whispers reached her. Roman's gigs dried up, drowned in whiskey. Lina's career tanked after a botched campaign left her in debt. One gray afternoon, she spotted them through a cafe window in Logan Square. Lina's voice pierced the glass, berating Roman as he slumped in his chair. Marta pushed the door open. "Hey," she said, ice in her tone. They froze. Lina's smile was desperate. "Marta, I save it," she snapped. "You're nothing to me." Roman stared at the table. She pulled the blue bow from her pocket, found in an old drawer, and dropped it between them. "Your prize," she said, turning on her heel. Marta's workshop opened in Humboldt Park, a gritty space where her machines hummed with purpose. Her designs, rugged, soulful, earned a cult following. She ditched bows, but one day, she stitched a tiny red one onto a leather bag, a badge of survival. Gazing into a new mirror, she smiled. "You're unbreakable." Their betrayal had been a brutal epic, but it forged her into steel.